Hello, welcome to Lives channel. Today we will learn about 4 absolutely explosive revelations that are set to shake Salem to its very core over the next 10 gripping episodes spanning October 20th through October 31st. The upcoming fortnight promises a cascade of devastating secrets, psychological breakdowns, suppressed memories resurfacing, and terrifying Halloween chaos that will leave multiple lives forever altered in ways no one could have anticipated. Sophia Choi's catastrophic mental collapse and hospitalization. The first shocking development centers on Sophia Choi, whose intricate web of deception is finally reaching its breaking point in the most dramatic fashion imaginable. After months of orchestrating an elaborate scheme filled with lies, manipulation, and psychological warfare, Sophia will find herself completely cornered by those she has hurt most deeply. The confrontation that unfolds will be nothing short of explosive, as Brady Black, Tate Black, Holly Jonas, Chanel Dupree, and Johnny DiMera all converge on her simultaneously, demanding answers and accountability for her mountain of fabrications. The pressure becomes absolutely unbearable when Holly directly challenges Sophia with piercing accusations. "Tell us the truth. Tate isn't the father. Just admit it." Tate, feeling utterly betrayed by someone he once trusted, will question her with genuine confusion and hurt. "Why didn't you just tell me?" Brady, protective of his son and furious about the manipulation, will confront Sophia about her calculated deception regarding the paternity of baby Tesoro, while Chanel simply pleads for honesty after all the chaos Sophia has caused. Surrounded by angry faces and unable to maintain her carefully constructed lies any longer, Sophia will experience what can only be described as a complete psychological breakdown. She will cry out desperately, I can't, before her body gives out entirely and she collapses unconscious on the floor of Brady's pub. The dramatic scene will send shockwaves through everyone present as emergency services are immediately called to the scene. Once Sophia is rushed to Salem University Hospital, Dr. Sarah Horton will conduct a thorough examination and deliver deeply concerning news to Amy Choi, Sophia's mother. It seems Sophia has suffered a psychological break. Sarah will inform Amy, describing a severe mental health crisis that has rendered Sophia essentially catatonic. The young woman will be shown in a disturbing trance-like state, completely unresponsive to the world around her, as Amy desperately tries to reach her daughter through embraces and pleas. However, given Sophia's history of manipulation and her demonstrated ability to orchestrate elaborate schemes, questions will immediately arise about the authenticity of this breakdown. Is Sophia genuinely suffering from a severe mental health crisis brought on by the overwhelming stress of her lies unraveling? Or is this yet another calculated performance designed to evoke sympathy and escape accountability? Some residents of Salem will wonder if this is simply Sophia's most desperate gambit yet, faking a psychological collapse to avoid facing the consequences of her actions. Regardless of whether Sophia's condition is genuine or fabricated, the situation will force Amy Choi to confront some extremely difficult realities about her daughter and the baby, Tesoro. With Sophia potentially incapacitated and unable to care for a child, serious questions will emerge about custody arrangements and the baby's future. Will Amy step forward to seek custody of her grandson, believing she can provide the stability the child desperately needs? This becomes even more complicated when considering that Aaron Green is strongly suspected to be Tesoro's biological father, not Tate as Sophia has claimed for months. The paternity revelation is imminent, with DNA test results expected to definitively prove that Tate Black is not the father of Sophia's baby. This bombshell will vindicate Tate's instincts that something wasn't right about Sophia's story and will expose the full scope of her deception. Aaron Green, who shared a significant moment with Sophia on the night she left Tate's room upset, may soon step forward to claim his parental rights. With the support of his sisters, Kat Green and Felicity Green, Aaron could become a major player in determining Tesoro's future, potentially competing with Amy for custody or even considering adoption options himself. E.J. DiMera's sinister hospital wing preparations and disturbing experiments. The second shocking plot development involves E.J. DiMera's increasingly sinister activities as he continues to prepare a secret hospital wing for what can only be described as truly terrifying and disturbing experiments. While the exact nature of these experiments remains shrouded in mystery, the fact that the District Attorney of Salem is secretly constructing a clandestine medical facility raises enormous red flags about his intentions and the potential victims of whatever horrifying plans he has in mind. EJ's behavior has become progressively more disturbing and secretive in recent weeks, and his preparations suggest something far more sinister than standard medical procedures. The question on everyone's mind is, what exactly is EJ planning, and who is intended to be the subject of these disturbing experiments? Given EJ's history of ruthless behavior when he feels threatened or betrayed, the possibilities are genuinely frightening. Adding another layer of intrigue to the storyline is Leo Stark's involvement. As the gossip columnist and amateur sleuth continues his own investigation into EJ's suspicious activities, Leo has been digging deeper and deeper, following leads and gathering information about what EJ might be hiding. The spoilers indicate that Leo's persistence will soon pay off, as he is poised to make some absolutely shocking discoveries that could blow the lid off whatever EJ is planning. Will Leo uncover the truth about EJ's secret hospital wing before it's too late? Will he expose EJ's disturbing experiments to the proper authorities? Or will he find himself in danger for knowing too much? Leo's tendency to stick his nose where it doesn't belong has gotten him into trouble before, but this time the stakes appear to be higher than ever. If EJ realizes that Leo is closing in on his secrets, there's no telling what lengths the DiMera heir might go to in order to protect himself and his sinister plans. The implications of EJ's activities could have far-reaching consequences for multiple Salem residents. Is he planning to use his secret facility to conduct illegal medical procedures? Is he seeking revenge against someone who has wronged him? Or does this tie into other ongoing storylines in ways that haven't yet been revealed? Whatever the truth may be, EJ's secret hospital wing represents a genuinely disturbing development that threatens to unleash chaos when the full scope of his plans is finally exposed. Rachel Black's traumatic memory flash and the EJ shooting truth. The third shocking revelation centers on young Rachel Black and the deeply traumatic memories that have been buried in her subconscious for months. Rachel has been carrying a terrible secret that she herself doesn't consciously remember. She is the one who shot her uncle EJ DiMera on that fateful night, and the memories of that horrifying moment have been completely repressed as a psychological defense mechanism. During the upcoming episodes, Rachel will experience a sudden and disturbing memory flash that will leave her grandmother Marlena Evans deeply uneasy and concerned. This brief glimpse into Rachel's suppressed memories represents the beginning of what could become a complete flood of traumatic recollections. Marlena, with her extensive experience as a psychiatrist, will immediately recognize the signs and worry that Rachel is on the verge of a complete memory breakthrough that will force the young girl to confront the devastating truth about what she did. The psychological phenomenon Rachel is experiencing is known as traumatic memory repression, an automatic response by the mind to protect itself from overwhelming trauma. EJ nearly died from the gunshot wound, and the horror of knowing she fired at her own uncle, someone she has complicated feelings about due to his conflicts with her mother and grandmother, was simply too much for Rachel's young mind to process. As a result, her psyche buried the memories so deeply that she has genuinely been unable to access them, even though they have been affecting her behavior in subtle and not-so-subtle ways. Those who have been paying close attention have noticed that Rachel exhibits profound discomfort and anxiety whenever she is around EJ, even though she cannot consciously explain why she feels this way. This subconscious awareness of what happened has been manifesting in increasingly troubling behavior, including her current scheming with Thomas DiMera as she leads him down a shady path filled with manipulation and deception. Rachel's acting out is itself a defense mechanism, an unconscious way of protecting herself against emotions she cannot yet handle. The memory flash that occurs during the week of October 20th to 24th will be just the beginning of Rachel's psychological unraveling. The following week, October 27th to 31st, promises to bring even more memories flooding back, potentially sending Rachel into a complete frenzy as the full weight of what she did comes crashing down on her young shoulders. The timing is particularly significant because Halloween is approaching, and the spooky atmosphere combined with potential triggers could accelerate the return of Rachel's suppressed memories in devastating fashion. But what might serve as the ultimate trigger that finally breaks through Rachel's psychological barriers and forces her to remember everything? The spoilers suggest that the catalyst could be connected to the ongoing Cat Green drama that has been unfolding in Salem. Rachel has become entangled in Kat's storyline through her interference in Kat and Chad DiMera's relationship, giving Thomas tips and strategies to keep the couple apart. As Rachel becomes more deeply involved in these schemes and machinations, something about the situation, perhaps involving danger or violence, could mirror the circumstances of the night she shot EJ, triggering a complete memory recall. The emotional and psychological impact of Rachel finally remembering that she shot EJ will be absolutely devastating not only for the young girl but for her entire family. Kristen DiMera will be faced with the horrifying realization that her daughter committed such a violent act, while Brady will struggle with how to help his daughter cope with such traumatic knowledge. Even EJ himself, once he learns the truth, will have to grapple with complex feelings about his young niece being responsible for his near-death experience. The circumstances that led to Rachel picking up the gun in the first place were complicated by family dynamics and conflicts. Rachel had witnessed EJ threatening her mother Kristen and her grandmother Rachel Blake, and she had heard him make ominous statements about what he might do to her loved ones. On the night of the shooting, after Johnny DiMera had confronted EJ and left the gun behind, young Rachel apparently picked it up, perhaps intending to make EJ promise not to hurt her family members. Whether the gun discharged accidentally or whether Rachel deliberately pulled the trigger in a moment of fear and anger remains to be seen, but the psychological toll of this knowledge will be immense. Halloween horror and Cat Green's terrifying town square attack. The fourth and final shocking plot development brings genuine terror to Salem in the form of Halloween chaos that will turn deadly serious in the town square. While Halloween is typically a time for fun costumes and playful scares, this year's celebration will take a dark and dangerous turn when an armed lunatic appears in the town square wielding a weapon and targeting none other than Cat Green. The frightening scene will unfold rapidly as Kat suddenly finds herself face-to-face with a maniac who appears intent on stabbing her. The attack will be sudden and vicious, giving Kat little time to react or defend herself as the blade comes dangerously close to her body. In that terrifying moment, Alex Kyriakis will witness the attack and immediately spring into action, shouting desperately and working frantically to pull Kat out of harm's way before the weapon can make contact. The chaos and confusion of the moment will result in Kat stumbling or falling directly into the arms of Chad DiMera, creating a moment of intense emotional connection between the two, even amid the terror of the attack. For Chad, who has been struggling with his complicated feelings about Kat following the revelations about her deceptions and her family's involvement in the Abigail impersonation scheme, this moment of physical proximity and protective instinct could reignite feelings he has been trying to suppress. As the dust settles and people rush to help, it appears that someone will indeed be sliced by the attacker's weapon before the situation is brought under control. The identity of the victim and the extent of their injuries remains unclear, but the incident will leave multiple Salem residents shaken and traumatized. The question of who was behind the mask of the armed lunatic and whether this was a targeted attack specifically meant for Kat or simply random Halloween violence will become a major point of investigation in the aftermath. However, there is one intriguing possibility that the spoilers hint at. This entire terrifying scenario might actually turn out to be an elaborate Halloween fantasy or staged event, rather than a genuine attack. Given that Halloween celebrations often include haunted attractions, theatrical scares, and elaborate staged scenarios, it's possible that what appears to be a real attack could actually be part of some kind of Halloween entertainment that went too far or was misunderstood in the moment. Nevertheless, whether real or staged, the emotional impact on Kat and Chad will be very real, potentially bringing them closer together despite all the reasons they should stay apart. The Halloween terror will add yet another layer of intensity to an already explosive 2 weeks of drama in Salem. Combined with Sophia's psychological breakdown, EJ's sinister experiments being uncovered, and Rachel's traumatic memories beginning to resurface, the residents of Salem will find themselves facing some of the most shocking and surprising twists they have experienced in quite some time. These 4 major storylines will intersect and collide in unexpected ways throughout the next 10 episodes, creating a perfect storm of drama, suspense, revelation, and consequences that will reverberate throughout Salem for weeks and months to come. The repercussions of these events will fundamentally alter relationships, expose long-buried secrets, and force multiple characters to confront truths they have been avoiding or suppressing. Days of Our Lives fans should prepare themselves for an absolutely unforgettable fortnight of television that will keep them on the edge of their seats from October 20th through October 31st.